Welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. It's a beautiful Thursday, 6:34. We're starting right on time. We got a new producer in there. We got Amanda. Amanda with us.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Amanda.
So we got a great show.
Hell of a show to see.
I mean, and I forgot all my notes.
That's okay.
So I'm winging it. So in case you're wondering, I'm making shit up at this point. But some of it might be true.
Some of it might be true.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't guarantee a whole lot of it will be true, but some of it.
Some of it
might be.
Some of it. I mean, I'll brush against the truth.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, I mean, what more can you ask? I could be a politician. I just brush against the truth.
You could be a politician.
Just brush against the truth.
That's it.
So, but we got word origins coming up.
Well, let's tell people what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about strange celebrity deaths.
Yeah, so just deaths in general. Could be political, could be, because some of them go back.
Some of them go way back.
Yeah,
they do.
Some of them go back a ways. So,
and then we're also going to talk about how the continents were named.
Yeah. Some of those kind of
weird.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Antarctica really was weird. I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't.
Did you see it? Did you know it?
I kind of did.
You kind of knew it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. It kind of caught me off guard. So,
okay, let's talk about our sponsors.
We got to talk about our amazing sponsors, and we have two new ones.
Two new sponsors, ladies and gentlemen.
Two new ones. But
thank you very much indeed, new sponsors.
But we have two new ones, but the first one we got to lead off with because today is National Pizza Day.
National Pizza Day, people.
So we cannot not lead off with 900-degree pizza and pasta.
It would have been remiss had you not.
I would have felt horrible inside if they don't understand how much we appreciate pizza as a food in general.
In general, amazing.
And then the greatest sauce in town, 900-degree pizza and pasta, located right near the high school.
Lewis Speedway, right by the high school. Folks, it is amazing. Get your butt over there. If you haven't tried their pie, it's incredible. Incredible.
Yep. So the other ones are two new ones that we got to talk about, and one came on last week. We talked a little bit briefly about it. Is River and Fort
right downtown? Right downtown. River and Fort.
There's not a better place to have a drink on that rooftop.
The view from the rooftop, you're looking over the fort.
You know what you can see from the rooftop?
What can you see?
The river and fort.
You can see the river and the fort.
How I don't know how they came up with that name. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is a puzzler, isn't it?
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it is.
So, but great people over there. Great food. If you have family coming into town, they made something that was kind of a derelict building into something incredible.
It's absolutely
they did a
incredible.
Great job. Congratulations to Jeff and Bob over there.
And you're right. If people come into town and you want to really show this town off, take them to River and Fort.
Well, if you go down our list, you can create an entire. If you have family coming in, you got River and Fort.
You got River and Fort right there.
You got the Pirate Museum
just around the corner.
Right there.
Right there.
All right. And on the other side of River and Fort, what do you have?
Meehan's
Irish Pub. All three of great sponsors. So.
And then another block away, you got City Gates Distillery.
See? It's right there too.
That's like the Holy Grail area.
The Holy Grail of Bollox.
That's right, the Holy Grail of Bollox.
Yeah.
I think I've always wanted the Holy Grail of Bollox.
And we got it. And cheers, by the way.
Cheers, yeah.
To another week.
To be fair, my dad used to look at me and call me, "You are the Holy fucking Grail of Bollox." And I don't think he meant it nicely.
That should be one of our word origins to figure out what the hell your dad meant.
Next week.
All right. So you mentioned City Gates Distillery. One of the best tours in town. They do a tasting.
Folks. You got to go there. Yeah,
City Gates and St. Augustine Distillery, owned by the same people, amazing people. Appreciate them sponsoring us. You can't go in there and not enjoy yourself because the tasting alone is worth it. You're going to walk out with a great product. If you're looking for
Valentine's Day, get the man in your life. Get him a gift. Get him the gift card.
Give him some bourbon.
Give him some bourbon. Give him some bourbon. Peanut butter whiskey, ladies and gentlemen, my personal favorite. Yeah. Peanut butter whiskey.
It sounds ridicululous, but it is so yummy.
As we would say, a queer name, but great stuff.
It's great stuff. Great stuff. All right. These guys, I'm about to put them to work.
You are.
Abare, Kresge and Associates.
Now, is it true that you come with stacks and stacks of filing cabinets and have to be wheelbarrowed in and you drop it off there? Is that true?
No, actually, they would be so happy if that's what it was. I come in with one shoebox all crumpled up together.
Oh, the shoebox.
Yeah, crumpled up together.
How long have you had the same shoebox
and say
for?
Good luck. No, it's a different shoebox every year.
That's you're classing it up.
And when the floods come, somehow I forget and leave them outside.
So you're bringing old West documents.
Yeah.
Abare, Kresge and Associates.
That's why they're worth the money.
If they can handle Troy's old, wet documents,
they're the best.
They are the best.
All right. Also, the best music on the island, the Beacon Listening Room. I was there last night. We had a great time at trivia. It was busy as usual, but I'm mad at one team.
Who are you mad at?
A table reserved for 12 and didn't show.
You got to be kidding me.
You know how important that is to that room? I mean, that means there was 3 other tables that could have came in, and they didn't show. Because there's a waiting list.
There is a waiting list to get in there.
And Gypsy Cab right across the parking lot there.
I had lunch with the family at Gypsy on Sunday. It was incredible. My eldest son claimed that it was one of the best burgers he ever had.
It's a good burger.
And seeing as 90% of his diet is burgers, he knows of what he speaks. He knows
a good burger.
He does.
All right, let's get right into it. Let's do some word.
Let's talk about
our newest one.
We haven't talked about we mentioned Meehan's Irish pub. By the way, congratulations, lads! 13th anniversary.
13th. Did you head over there? You didn't make it over. I made it over late. Reggie had already left.
I was at church.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers to communion.
Cheers to church.
All right. Meehan's, our man Reg. Congratulations, 13 years.
Yeah, 13 years. Great business. Great pint of Guinness. Great food. Look at folks. Get your butt down there. And we're into what almost Irish holiday season.
March.
St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
So anytime in March.
Anytime in March is our time. And
so is it 17 days before and 17 days after?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's the 34 days of St. Patrick's.
Okay.
Or as a friend of mine once said, the closest you bastards will ever get to Christmas.
Yeah, so that's as good as it gets. It's good as it gets. Hey, and I did tips for kids on Wednesday, so I created a new Jameson drink. It's actually very dangerous.
Yeah.
All right, because every year when I do tips for kids, I was at Uptown's Winery doing tips for kids for Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah, very cool, by the way.
So, being the town drunk, the Otis of St. Augustine, I have to come up with a drink every year.
You do?
Yeah. So
pressure on.
Yeah, so I did Jameson with ginger beer.
Well, that Jameson ginger's always good, yeah.
Jameson ginger beer with a splash of cranberry and a splash of apple juice.
Really?
And then you dropped a slice of Macintosh apple on the top. So you drink it down, and then you eat the apple. It was so good, dude. You couldn't taste the Jameson, which was a little disappointing to me, but to everyone else who was drinking the drink, they loved it.
Fantastic. That's a damn good drink.
Yeah, it's a good drink. Try it out.
I will.
So if not, I might bring it next week.
I'll do it without the ginger beer, the cranberry, and the apple. But otherwise, I'm right there with you.
I'm a Jameson on the rocks. And the only reason I throw in the ginger in there is so I don't drink too fast.
Yeah, because that'll happen.
Yeah.
And we all know.
Yeah. Well, bartenders are irresponsible in this town. They keep giving me drinks when I ask for them.
I know. Like one time you'd expect them to go, "No, Troy."
Yeah.
Just once go. No, Troy.
Yeah. All right, the other one is our newest sponsor, and super excited about it. We don't have this logo up yet, but we'll have it up, and it is Palm Valley Golf Course.
Palm Valley Golf Course.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So it's our newest sponsor. They're just north of town here. They have a virtual, and we're going to have to go up and check it out. We might have to do a field trip.
Right, they got virtual golf where you can play any course.
You can play inside.
Yeah.
So you can actually play a game similar to... what they have at Topgolf. Wow. But you don't have to be outside. You can have a drink there, and 4 of you can play for an hour for like $45. I mean, it's
mad cool.
It's cheaper than it's the only time you'll ever have golf cheaper than bowling.
There you go. And Palm Valley.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a great little course. You can get in and out. They don't have you actually. It is a physical activity because you have to walk there.
Yeah.
They don't have carts.
No carts in Palm Valley. Yeah. No, you got to walk.
Yeah.
Now, it's a short course, but a damn fine course and an old course as well.
It's been there a while, and it's been in the same family. It's only on 27 acres.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's thank you, Chris. Appreciate you and the family for bringing us into your partnership there. All right. And when we talk about our sponsors, we're not just giving lip service.
We are not just giving lip service.
So, one of my word origins of the day is lip service.
I've no idea where this comes from.
Okay, but
you paid lip service.
You paid lip service before. Yeah. You paid lip service before. So the first time the term was used was in the 1540s, and it was called lip labor.
Lip labor?
Yeah. About 100 years later, it morphed into lip service because it was in written form.
Okay.
But it meant the exact same thing.
And what the hell does it mean?
What it means is, you say you're going to do it, but you never really do it. You're just talking out of the other side of your mouth, which might be next week.
Yeah, that's true.
But it literally has been around that long. People have been given lip service for almost 1,000 years. I think they've been given lip service since we've been able to talk.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Lip labor.
Lip labor is how it originated.
That sounds like some kind of a tax on some kind of prostitution thing in Amsterdam, doesn't it?
It showed up in a play as lip service. And then ever since then, it was no longer used as lip labor. It was lip service.
Lip
and
service.
that was in like the 1630s.
I like it.
So almost 90 years later, it was shifted to that.
Okay.
And I'm not just giving lip service on that one.
This is reality.
I looked that one up.
So I'm always surprised when we sort of accidentally almost coordinate. And so mine also has to do with the face. Mm-hmm. Mine is paying through the nose.
Oh.
Paying through the nose. Now, we all know what it means, right? You're paying an excessive amount for something, right? But this is great. This goes back to the Danish Vikings in Ireland in the 9th century.
You have Vikings in Ireland?
Oh, they invaded. Oh. And then we allowed them to breed in with us, and then we just took them over.
Yeah, you just like, you
we're not going to fight.
You wore them down with conversation.
That's it. That's what it is.
The Irish win the war, wearing them down with conversation.
Yeah. So the nose tax. There was a nose tax. The Vikings basically, they taxed you they literally counted noses, right? And if you were delinquent on your taxes, they cut your nose from here all the way up to your eyebrow. They split you wide open from tip of the nose to the eyebrow. That was paying through the nose. So if you didn't pay your taxes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds very inconvenient.
Doesn't it? A little on the inconvenient side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to give lip service to them if you're not paying your taxes.
Don't. Yeah.
Wow.
And so obviously for several centuries there was Vikings in Ireland, and there was lots of fighting, and we actually wore them out of the place. 1014 battle at Clontarf and all that. But yeah, exorbitant taxes, and if you didn't pay them, they slit you up the nose.
All right, here's a question for you, because we talked about Vikings, and I'm totally going off topic, which,
Can't believe that would happen.
That's the tangent I'm going down right now.
All right.
So do you think it's true that all the pretty women from England got taken by the Vikings, and that's why their women are so ugly?
Absolutely, 100%.
As an Irishman, I think you can say that with more confidence than me.
Yeah. If I didn't,
because your love for England is so strong.
It's deep.
Yeah.
And I would never bear false witness against that sacred realm. This blessed rock. This England.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's where this came from. They cut off the longbow.
Pluck you.
Yeah. They cut off the longbow. Have we done that yet? I don't think we've done it. We haven't done that. Well, that's for another day. That's for another day. All right. People want to know why they wave with one finger. We know why.
What's your other word?
Well, I don't want to do this to you because you might be a little brokenhearted.
Troy.
I don't want to do this to you, but the origin I have, because Valentine's Day is coming up.
It is coming up.
And, a lot of people are going to be brokenhearted.
Oh, they will, because...
Yeah. So I wanted to know where the term brokenhearted came from.
Why you gotta break my heart?
Believe it or not, this term goes back 3,000 years.
Come on. Seriously? 3,000 years?
3,000 years. But the first time it was used was in the 1300s on a regular basis.
Okay.
All right? So brokenhearted means exactly what it means, but way back 3,000 years ago, they started associating emotions with the heart.
Oh, right. Okay, I like that.
They didn't understand the physiology, because being broken-brained is what it really would be.
Yeah.
You're not broken-hearted. Everything comes from your brain.
But yeah, this goes back into the whole, the different humors and the different black bile and yellow bile and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So they felt like all emotion came from the heart. So if you hurt someone's feelings, it became brokenhearted. 3,000 years ago. This is the oldest word origin I've found so far.
Absolutely.
But the first time it was in written form, it was in actually a love letter. And brokenhearted.
Brokenhearted.
Yeah.
Aw.
See, and people think I'm not a romantic.
Roses are red and violets are blue, and Troy is in love with everyone but you.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm selling. Well, I'm in love with this bourbon we got. The bourbon of the week is finished with the port barrel.
Barrel.
Yeah.
St.
Augustine Distillery. All right. I got an extra plug in there. Good job.
I got meeting a deadline. That's my next one. Meeting a deadline. Right? But you've got a time limit. You got to get your work done on time, right? So here's where it comes from. It comes from the U.S. Civil War. And it comes from the famous or infamous or god-awful Andersonville, Georgia prison camp.
Oh.
Right? And the idea was if a Union prisoner crossed a certain line, because they couldn't barricade everybody in, right?
Yeah,
you were in the stockade.
Yeah.
So they literally
drew a line in the
dirt.
Is that where don't draw a line in the
sand? No, that's
previous.
That's previous to that. Yeah, but there was a deadline, literally a line. And if you crossed the fucking line,
they're going to kill you.
You were killed. You were shot and you were killed.
Well, I mean, they were so bad in Andersonville. I mean, it might be worth getting shot. The way they treated those guys.
Yeah, that place was hellish.
All right.
Hellish.
Next week, and you brought it up when we were talking about the nose, paying through the nose thing. Next week, I think I want to do ridiculous taxes.
Just in general, ridiculous taxes? Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous taxes that have been all over the world. I mean, like the tea tax that was here. And, in St. Augustine, we had a window tax.
That's right, the window tax.
So instead of putting in windows on the first floor, people would make a deck around, and they would have doors as windows. So some of the old houses have so many doors that would open that looked like windows, but they were actually doors to avoid paying the tax.
Yeah. Well, shotgun houses in New Orleans are so built for the same reason, because you were taxed on the frontage of your building.
Oh, so that's why they're long and skinny. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah, I like ridiculous taxes.
Ridiculous taxes next week.
Down with that.
All right, so we're not just giving lip service here. We don't want to break anyone's heart.
No.
And if we do, we don't want to pay through the nose.
No. No. I'll meet all my deadlines.
Because we work on a deadline.
Oh.
Yeah. So
see what we did there.
All right.
So good.
Pulled it all together. All right. Strange deaths.
Strange deaths.
All right. And like I said, I left my notes. I got a couple little notes here, but I left my good notes. I had handwritten notes like you. I was like, gosh, I'm going to be prepared. Derek's going to be so proud. I'm going to ask for extra credit from the teacher. Yeah, and I forgot it. Yeah,
I don't think
my dog didn't eat it. Dog didn't eat it. No,
I've never given extra credit in my life.
Dog didn't eat it. I just left it behind.
I'm a terribly mean teacher.
All right,
there's no extra credit.
So
do your damn job.
Some of the ones that popped out immediately on strange deaths that have kind of ridiculous stories that don't line up exactly right. The one that popped out to me was President Garfield.
Garfield's death is just so damn awful. Garfield should have lived another 25 years. He couldn't even be alive today.
The shot he had that he took, he would have been better off if no one
ever touched
him. And he would have lived and would have still been president.
Yeah.
It didn't have it had no vital organs whatsoever.
Nope.
It was not even that deep he wasn't even bleeding that much.
Nope. It was July of 1881, and President Garfield was shot.
And he died in September?
He died in September, yeah. And what did the doctors on the scene do?
Huh?
What did the doctors?
They stuck their hands directly in him. They stuck their hands into the wound.
Yeah. To try and...
They didn't clean their hands.
No, there was no hand cleaning.
All right, and there was like 4 or 5 different doctors that said, I'm going to save the president. Yeah.
And there was no anesthesia.
No.
They literally lined up 1, 2, 3, 4 and all shoved dirty, unwashed hands into the wound. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he never did well after that.
Well, he died of infection. He didn't die of the wound.
He died of sepsis.
He died of sepsis and infection because the doctors killed him.
There's a couple of...
The guy who shot him didn't kill him. Just so we're clear.
A couple of other weird things about it. When they got him back to the White House, they did an initial incision of 3 inches to try and see if they could then find the bullet to get it out. They could not. So then they kept expanding the incision and routing back in through the wound.
Yeah.
The incision eventually ran 21 inches. 21 inches.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
But get a magnet.
They actually had, here's a funny thing. The metal detector had just been invented. Somebody suggested.
Yeah, it was
Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell used it on him. It didn't find it. It didn't find it.
Didn't find it. Yeah, he died of sepsis in September. Yeah, the assassin didn't kill him.
3 months later.
Yeah.
3 months later.
So did you know that President McKinley died somewhat similarly in that his wounds were worse?
Yeah, his was a little more.
His wounds were worse, but the doctors roosing around and digging with their hands sparked the infection and killed him quicker. And he was at the World's Fair in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they actually had the new invention. There was the X-ray machine. And some people suggested, what if you use the X-ray machine to try and find the bullet that you can't find? And they turned it down because they thought the X-rays would be damaging to the president.
Oh, let's just kill him. Let's just kill him instead.
So they continue to ram their hands and fingers.
So we're gonna stay with presidents because the other one is the president who served the shortest amount of time.
Okay.
William Henry Harrison.
William Henry Harrison. Yeah.
All right. It was Tippecanoe and Tyler too.
That's right.
So he was a war hero at the Battle of Tippecanoe. He kept getting ridiculed during the campaign about being too soft.
That's right.
And not being a tough guy. So he decided.
His reaction.
Coldest day ever in Washington D.C. He decides not to wear his overcoat
at the inauguration.
He gives the longest speech ever.
We're not making this up. It's the longest inaugural speech, and it's the coldest temperature for any inauguration. Maybe the coldest temperature ever in Washington.
So he gets the flu and he catches pneumonia. You know what they decided to do? What happens when you get the flu? You get dehydrated.
You get
extremely dehydrated. Everything's coming out. Everything's going. The brilliant doctors decide, let's use leeches.
Ah, well, obviously. I love using leeches.
So they completely drained him. They wouldn't give him fluids. And he dies 31 days later.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Leeches.
Yeah. You'd think our president would get the best care.
No.
We give you 3 examples of how doctors killed presidents.
Yeah.
So, William Henry Harrison, it was one of those situations where he had too much care. If he'd have just went home and tried to recover without any, he probably would have made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, I mean, he's still stupid. Wear your damn overcoat.
Yeah. But,
Yeah. If you got, what's the saying? If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tippecanoe, I guess you didn't show anybody.
So just on the weird presidential death thing, okay? And it's only weird just because. So 3 of our founding fathers died on July the 4th.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 of them died the exact same day.
2 of them died the exact same day.
Jefferson and Adams died on the 50th anniversary of signing the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, 1826.
Yep.
And then 5 years later, Madison died.
Yeah.
July 4th, 1831. I just think it's incredible that 3 of the.
One was born on it. I can't think of which one. Amanda, do you have the ability to look up which one? Yeah.
But that's an extraordinary thing that 3 of the founding fathers, 3 presidents died on that day. I think that's really incredible.
Well, and I think the moment I feel that's one of the things where you kind of think about it, because you couldn't get word, and Adams and Jefferson had a horrible political feud, but they had made up by this time. Thank goodness they were best of friends. Matter of fact, we talked about them vandalizing a chair in London.
That's right, together
in London, because they were out drinking and they vandalized the chair together. But on Jefferson's deathbed, you know what he said?
Oh yes, is Adams still alive?
No, he said at least Adams is still alive.
At least Adams.
And Adams had died earlier that morning.
Right, yeah.
So
Calvin Coolidge was born on
Calvin Coolidge was born on Yeah, we already said what a tool he was.
Silent Cal.
Yeah, he's the one who knew how to speak Japanese and wouldn't. Him and his wife would talk in front of the staff and wouldn't let any of them make eye contact with him. Yeah, up yours, Cal.
He shrank the size of government, though, so I like Calvin.
He shrank the size of government. Yeah, but did you know that story though?
No, I didn't.
Okay, like if he was walking down the White House hallway. None of the staff members could make eye contact with him or even be in the hallway with him. They had to dive into rooms or he would fire them. And him and his wife spent time in Japan. And if me and Derek were just talking, we'd start talking Japanese because we didn't want you involved in the conversation.
He sounds like he was a tremendous curmudgeon, and that's probably why he shrank the size of government. And then he was like, I fixed all the problems, and he's out.
No, he just didn't like people.
That's it. He's a curmudgeon.
He just didn't like people. And he came after, there was no way he couldn't shrink the size of government.
He came depression.
Oh, wait. Well, who did he follow? Who was president before him?
Was it Hoover?
Harding,
yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Harding, the worst president of all time. So,
I read something today, and I need to go back and read it, but there are some rumors that Harding's wife fucking poisoned him.
I can believe that.
Okay, can we talk about one that I found unbelievably brilliantly strange?
Yes.
And you were the one who suggested it, was Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Edgar Allan Poe, obviously brilliant poet.
He did a couple strange things while he was alive.
He did.
Yeah.
And he is a poet who's got a football team named after him.
Yes.
Right?
The Ravens.
So he died at the age of 40 in 1849 in Baltimore, Maryland, a town that's near and dear to my wife's heart.
The Ravens.
And Baltimore. So, he was found in a tavern. He was found in a place called Gunner's Hall, also known as Ryan's Tavern. And people couldn't tell whether he was shit-faced or delirious or whatever he was. And he seemed to be completely unkempt and dirty, wearing ill-fitting clothing. Nobody had seen him. He left Richmond a week before heading to New York, Richmond, Virginia, heading to New York. Nobody who knew him had seen him in a week. Somebody recognized him in this tavern. And he's all over the place, and he's wearing clothes that are clearly not his. And he was a bit of a dandy, so people, noticed that.
Yeah. Well, he was raised a very wealthy man.
Yeah.
He was his parents died, and he was raised by a very wealthy person who adopted him, who just got sick of him. So he got him into the guy who raised him, got him into West Point.
Okay.
Poe hated West Point. So did I tell you the story of what he did? So, Amanda, do you know the story? So Edgar Allan Poe hated West Point so much. So he decides, how do I get kicked out? Completely goes Lady Godiva on it. Walks naked through the entire campus. And that's how he got kicked out of West Point.
I was going to ask if he kissed his commanding officer.
Yeah, he might have done that too.
Don't ask, don't tell. Yeah. That's superb.
Yeah. So, but he was in this tavern.
Yeah. So nobody really knows what happened. Now, some people, they said it was drugs, it was alcohol, but there's no trace of drugs or alcohol in his system. He'd taken the temperance vow a couple of years beforehand. There was no evidence to suggest he'd broken it. There's a suggestion that it could have been syphilis.
Yes.
Cholera has been posited lately because he'd been in Philadelphia early that year and there was a cholera outbreak, and in letters he wrote he suspected he might have had cholera. Rabies has been suggested. But do you want to hear the one that
I can tell you this, I always thought it was syphilis that kind of took him out, but because he went a little crazy at the end.
So here's the one that I love. I'm fairly sure it's not true, but I want it to be true. And that's enough for me.
Yeah.
He was a victim of a thing called cooping.
Cooping?
C-O-O-P-I-N-G. Cooping.
Okay.
So Gunner's Hall, where he was a polling booth, and it was an election day in Baltimore, the day on which he was found unkempt and delirious. And this was a voter fraud trick in the 19th century.
Okay.
You kidnap people, you plied them with drugs or alcohol, or you beat the shit out of them.
You make them submit.
And
to vote your way.
Then you got them to vote your way, and then you dressed them in different clothes and brought them back in, and they got them to vote again. And they dressed them in different clothes and got them to vote again and again and again. And
I thought it was only Tenemy Hall, but it was in Baltimore
everywhere.
too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, considering the state of him, considering at the time that this was fairly regular practice, and Gunners Hall was a notorious place for cooping,
Oh, yeah.
I really want to
Bunch
believe
of coopers.
that's what happened to him.
Okay, we're going to go with that.
It was
Yeah.
voter fraud.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're the ones who get to write history. That's kind of the
Yeah.
way it's always been. Doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be true. I mean, if
No.
you read history books, hey, it doesn't always
Doesn't
have to be right.
true. Doesn't have to be true.
All right. So my next one
All right.
is it's not a politician. It's Harry Houdini.
Oh, yeah. Good old Harry. All
Harry
right.
Houdini. And Harry, do you know what day Harry died?
I don't.
Amanda, do you have any idea?
Is it Halloween?
He died on Halloween.
That's yeah.
He died on Halloween. All right. And Harry had this thing where he could really tighten his stomach really tight.
Right, he used to let people punch
He used to let people punch him. Well, he had just come off stage, and this college young kid, a strapping young man, just walked up and just ripped into him without Harry being prepared. Like, you know, if you're just standing there and you catch between breath. I mean, I could probably take a punch a little bit. Well, I could 20 years ago take a punch in my stomach a little bit better than I can now. But I could tighten up, and I could take a pretty good punch at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're just standing relaxed, no one can do it. So what happened? Do you know what happened?
Wait, what did he get? He ruptured his spleen or
His appendix.
His appendix.
His appendix. And it's another person that would be alive today with today's technology. But they thought he had tore a muscle. By the time he got to the hospital, they couldn't figure out what it was, and he died of sepsis.
Harry Houdini.
Here's a guy who got dropped into ice and could dislocate both shoulders, just an amazing illusionist. And a college kid punched him and burst his appendix.
So
he died of appendix.
I've heard of cases where, and I know cases of this, and it's happened. I know it's because it's happened in Ireland, where we've had guys go to the Olympics and do well in boxing, maybe win a medal or something, and then they're maybe in a bar some night, and some guy decides that guy's not that tough, and then walk over and cold cock him from behind, and of course. You're just going to drop anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Cases of Irish Olympians being assaulted, and people are like, "Wow, I thought he was tough," and it's like you discover afterwards with
he just got sucker punched.
Sucker punched.
Well, I can tell you this: I had a roommate.
What do you think?
I had a roommate who was 6'5" and weighed about 280 to 300 pounds. A big, and he was a professional wrestler. The Lord of Discipline. And
good
so
novel.
we would
Done right.
go out to a bar or something like that.
Yeah.
And I would say 9 out of 10 times, someone would try and pick a fight with him or at least challenge him to arm wrestling. Now, here's a guy I saw drop 500 pounds on his chest. Like it slipped. He was doing a grill.
Yeah.
He was in a contest. Dropped 500 pounds on his chest. He went, ugh, and lifted it off. It would have went through me and split my body in two.
It would have, yeah.
Okay? Split my body in two. But every time him and I went out, they wouldn't pick on me.
They wanted to hit the big
They
guy.
always wanted to hit the big guy.
Why?
And I was like,
What is
you're just a dipshit.
Dipshit.
And he was such a calm guy. Usually I ended up in the fight.
Funny that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So
All right, so I got one. So Natalie Wood. Right?
what kind of wood don't float?
Natalie Wood. Yeah.
I think I was in 8th or 9th grade when she bit the dust.
Yeah, so
Was
she
it 81, 82?
81.
Okay.
She was 43 years. Natalie Wood, if you don't know, she was in the great John Ford movie, The Searchers. She was in Rebel Without a
Beautiful.
Cause, West Side Story.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And she was married to
Robert Wagner.
Wagner.
Twice.
Good looking dude.
Married to him twice.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
He's like there wasn't going to be a third.
He's still alive, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a boating trip with her husband. Do you know who else was on the boat?
I do.
Who else was on the boat?
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Oh, wow.
Christopher Walken and a guy called
Need more cowbell.
Dennis Davern, a boat captain who lived in St. Augustine for years and years.
Really?
And years. Yes, he
Okay.
did.
I'm loving this already.
In fact-
now you got me going.
Davern sold his story. He sold a story to Vanity Fair in maybe 2010, 2011. And they filmed him sitting out by the fort. They took the picture in
wow.
Vanity Fair's right there, yeah? So, she was on a boating trip with the husband, Christopher Walken, Dennis Davern, just the four of them. She went off a boat. They found the dinghy and then her body Originally, it was ruled accidental death to drowning, tragic. But they've looked at it several times since. Now the official report is it was accidental death by drowning plus undetermined factors. There was bruising on her body. Now Dennis Dameron gave a story and testified years later, maybe 30 years later, I think in 2011, that Wagner and her had a fight, and Robert Wagner pushed her overboard, and then didn't make any effort to go get her. Sort of like, that'll cool her off, serve her rice. Mm-hmm. Didn't like. Dameron's thing was like, he didn't kill her. He just kind of. They were arguing. They were drunk. Pushed her into the water, and then just said, fuck her. That'll teach her a lesson.
Yeah, she knows how to swim.
But the only problem was, she didn't know how to swim.
She did not,
and she was terrified of water,
which was well known.
And then it took them 4 hours after that to call the Coast Guard.
Wow,
4 hours. Now her.
No, I remember this happening.
Yeah,
I said, I think I was in the 8th or 9th grade when this happened.
So it is uber suspicious.
Yeah.
I think in 2018, because of something her sister and her daughter did, that I think Robert Wagner was called back in for questioning, and he didn't get charged, but was he involved? I'm going to say yes. He said that they got in an argument and she climbed into the dinghy and rowed away, but if you couldn't swim and you're terrified of water, you're probably not making that choice.
No, you're not. You're not doing that at all.
Natalie Wood.
I learned about that story when Christopher Walken went viral for the time because he was in the Fat Boy Slim video.
Yeah.
Like awkwardly dancing through that. And I was like, who's this Christopher Walken guy? And that's the story I learned first. So he's a very sinister character in my world.
Hell yeah. All right, Troy, what do we got?
All right, I got to go with Rasputin.
Good old Rasputin.
Do you know anything about his death?
I know that he was killed about 8 times before the fucker died.
Yes. So, do you know anything about Amanda?
Didn't his head still talk after it was chopped off?
His mouth was moving, but they couldn't vocalize.
Yeah.
All right. But Rasputin, near impossible to kill. All right. So because Rasputin was having an affair with the Tsarina, Alexandria.
Right, the last Tsarina, right?
Yeah.
This is just before the Russian Revolution.
So, and evidently he was known by many to have affairs with royalties' wives. So it was not just her.
Apparently.
His penis is still in a museum in a jar.
Yes.
Is that today in Iceland? There's a phallus museum in Iceland.
Yes, it still exists today. So all the nobles, a group of nobles, decided we're going to take him out in 1916. And I'm reading this because they invited the mystic to the house where they gave him tea, cakes, and wine poisoned with arsenic.
Yes.
After eating the cakes and drinks 3 glasses of poisoned wine, the conspirators were shocked to see him seemingly unaffected. One of them decided to shoot him. All right, they shoot him in the chest.
I think that's a reasonable response, by the way.
Yeah, well, you didn't die, so I'm going to shoot you in the chest.
I shoot you. Right.
All right, they're nobles. They probably can get away.
Lead poisoning.
He's like, you know what? I need to go create my alibi. So he leaves. Comes back. When he returns, he is attacked by Rasputin, who had survived the bullet. The men then shoot Rasputin 3 more times. They wrap him on a rug in his body and throw him into the river.
He clearly didn't have presidential medical.
Who cut off his penis in the middle of all this process? Is it when it came out of the icy river and it was still that big?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's one of the wives. She wanted a souvenir.
No, it's somebody who's like, and evidently he has like Wilt Chamberlain beat by so many.
Have you seen pictures of this man? I
He's
cannot
hideous.
believe these women chose to have sex with him.
I don't know if people can see this.
Russians.
Epstein.
That's all I got.
Situation.
Russians. Yeah, Epstein situation. Like, what the fuck?
No, and I can tell you, I'm not an attractive man, but I'm better looking than this dude.
Rasputin. Ugh.
Look at that.
That's a rough looking dude.
I don't know.
I don't care what's under that robe.
In a certain light. Do we need to do a sponsor break, sir?
We have to do a sponsor break. So when we have to talk about, we got to talk about the continents at some point.
We do.
All right. So first off, I'll start off with our two new sponsors, River and Fort. Just an amazing place. Thank you guys for being in the city. Appreciate your business. They're building a new restaurant next to in between the Hilton and Harry's, where that bank's at.
Really?
So that'll be coming soon. Excited to see what they're going to do.
Wow. Any idea on the name?
Same company. No, we don't know the name yet. But I have seen the design of the restaurant. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to add to the bayfront.
You know what? And we need it right there.
Because that bank, that drive-through bank, it's not pretty. I hate it because that's where I cut through to leave my building. So now I'm going to have to drive through town. So I'm not happy about that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Guys, I have so much confidence in them doing an amazing job.
The River and Bridge.
The River and Bridge.
Solve the problem for you, lads.
Well, they do own the River and Post in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So River is a theme in there.
River and Bridge. And by the way, what you're looking to say right now, lads, it's pronounced thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. No, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being a part of it. All right, Palm Valley Golf Course.
I'm very excited about this.
We're both super excited about this. We want to get up there. We want to try the virtual golf thing that they have.
Yeah.
It's a great little course. It's so much fun. You don't have to worry about carts. You just
go walk.
Enjoy, and the owners over there are so fun.
And Palm Valley is one of the legendary. It's a legendary part of St. John's County.
Well, and I can tell you right now, I talked to the owner today. He's got some really fun ideas of how he wants to do some things. He wants to do a hole-in-one, and basically you have to wear a onesie to play golf the entire time, and who can win playing a onesie the entire time. Oh yeah, we're in. It wasn't even an option.
Does it have the tush panel? Because hole-in-one might be an entirely different.
Has to be.
Has to have the panel. I can tell you this. I wore my overalls the other night when I went out drinking.
Yeah.
Not the best move.
No, not a good move.
I am so sympathetic for women that have jumpers on.
Yeah.
When they got to go to the bathroom.
The romper,
shouldn't drink.
Tough.
I mean, overalls are men's rompers.
Yeah.
That's
this is why I don't own a romper.
Yeah.
Public bathrooms.
That's the old thing.
I have many reasons why I don't own a romper. If you're wearing the onesie and then you got to go the twosie, you need the
I mean, does my overalls count as a onesie?
Sure.
Okay, I think it does, right?
Yeah.
I think so. All right, but thank you so much for joining the team. We really appreciate you, Chris. All right, City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery, drinking it tonight.
Magnificent.
I have the port finish. So what they did is they have the bourbon and then they finished it in a San Sebastian port barrel. It's one of the smoothest bourbons you'll have.
Yeah, they make great booze, lads.
Great job, great tours. You're looking for a present for Valentine's Day? Hit them up.
That's where you go. 900 degree pizza and pasta.
National Pizza Day.
It's National Pizza Day. Go out and get some pie, people. Look at the sauce is amazing. They're right there on Lewis Speedway. You're over by the high school.
Give them a call.
There's no excuse not to go there.
Yeah, give them a call. If you have not tried them, give them a call. I can tell you right now, when you open that box, it's what a pizza's supposed to look like.
Yes, it is.
So, all right, Abare, Kresge and Associates, they're just the best.
They are
They're the best accountants in town. Wonderful people over there. They keep me out of jail, so I love them.
If you need help with opening a small business, if you need people to help you with your taxes, this is who you call Abare, Kresge and Associates every single time.
I can tell you right now, a lot of people think, okay, I can't afford an accountant. You cannot afford not to have an accountant.
Correct.
So if you have a small business and you're doing your own accountant, you're a knucklehead, get a hold of these guys right now.
What do they say about the lawyer that defends himself as a fool for a client? Same rule applies here, people.
Yep. All right, Beacon Listening Room and Gypsy Cab, side by side, great locations, great food at both locations.
Food, listen.
Wonderful mood. Or wonderful music and mood coming out of the Beacon Listening Room. Gypsy Cab, they have lunch specials. You can get a lunch under $10.
$10 lunch specials every single day of the week.
It's a great meal. I don't know any place else. I mean, a freaking Happy Meal is like $8 now. So,
Meehan's Irish Pub. They just celebrated the 13th anniversary.
13th anniversary. 3 bars in one.
3 bars in one. You can be outside, out the back, right? Then you go inside, belly up to the bar. You can go upstairs, Johnny's Oyster House. But for me, sitting upstairs on the balcony, overlooking the bay, come on. The bayfront right there is amazing. Reggie Mag's the nicest man in town. Mm-hmm. No question. The staff at Meehan's amazing. The pints are beautiful.
All right. Last sponsor we're talking about tonight, which is definitely not the least sponsor, St. Augustine Pirate Museum, over 800 artifacts. You know, a lot of people go, oh, it's a little... No, I'm telling you right now, this is a legit museum. Pat Croce brought up this museum from Key West, and it is absolutely amazing.
I tell you what, I probably go to the Pirate Museum more than anybody in St. Augustine. I love the Pirate Museum.
Yeah.
My kids love it. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So go. They're wonderful people. It's a great sponsor. They're a great business.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to talk about continents. We got about
Continents.
15 minutes to go.
Well,
that's all we got. And I have to apologize because they actually caught me burping.
Did they?
I tried to back away from the mic, but I guess I didn't back away far enough. Could you smell it in? Could you smell it in the booth?
It's a little raw in here now.
There's
It's
people
a little-
watching.
sorry, it came-
People saw us.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well, I know who caught me. So she was keeping her eye on me. I'm probably already in trouble for what I said on Mike's show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry, honey.
Well, you know what? We have, depending on where you are in the world, we either have 7 continents or 6 continents or 5. It all depends on where you
And
are.
there used to be one, right?
And there used to be one.
There used to be one.
Pangea.
Yeah, used to be one until the plate split us.
Damn plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was always taught there's
and the
7.
Earth used to be flat.
It still is.
Oh,
I
okay.
listen to Kyrie Irving. He
Kyrie
knows
Irving.
stuff.
He's a scientist.
He's a geographer.
Yeah.
Him and Magellan. Almost the exact same. Though Magellan couldn't dunk.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Kyrie, I think, was named the worst teammate. So he's got that going on for him. Him and Westbrook, I think, were 1 and 2. Worst teammates in NBA. All right, so there's some of them that really shocked me.
Yeah, okay.
Like I had no idea. And you say you knew which ones.
I knew
So
some
which
of
one are
them.
you leading off with?
Okay,
Like
so-
the Americas, I knew, so I stayed away from those.
Okay, but let's just very briefly say, so North America, South America. 2 continents.
Yes.
Right? I love that they're named after Amerigo Vespucci.
Yeah.
Right? And he first came over in 1501, and there's a map dated in 1507, some German guy, and he basically on the back of the map, he identifies these areas as America.
Yeah, it was accidentally called that.
Right?
Yeah.
But what I love about it is, what if he went with Vespucci?
Yeah.
We would be the United States
South.
of Vespuccia.
Yeah.
North Vespuccia.
I'm
bet-
a Miss Buchin.
I bet we'd have
fucking awesome.
I bet we'd have better pasta.
USV.
Yeah.
Right? Like brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, so and that one, like I knew the whole story of it, so I didn't even look at it. I was like, all right, we're not even going to touch there.
Right,
We'll
fucked up.
talk a little bit about it, but yeah, I agree with you. And why wasn't it called Columbus? He was here 10 years earlier.
He never landed on the continent.
Oh, so the Caribbean's not the continent?
The Caribbean's not the continent. The continent has to be a landmass. Yeah, the Caribbean's technically not the continent.
So what continent does the Bahamas fall in?
They don't belong in any continent.
They just don't exist.
They don't. No, they exist. They're not part of a continent.
But is an
part of
Australian
North America.
island?
Yeah, you could be an island and a continent.
Is it not an island?
It is an island.
All right, then. Is it not a continent?
It
so
is a continent.
why is the Bahamas, if you look up what continent the island,
Yeah, I think it's close next to.
it's going to say North
Yeah.
America.
Nah.
Damn it.
Well, it's all one.
You hate when I win, and I don't win often. All right, let's go with Australia. So Australia,
Australia.
it's
So
Latin, right?
It's Latin. This goes back to the fucking Romans. The Romans
New
figured
Holland.
out.
New Holland.
Yeah, but the Romans figured out or theorized, based on what was happening around the rest of the world, that there had to be a huge continent in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And they even mapped it ridiculously close to where it is today.
Where it is.
Based on what everything else is and tides and so
Yeah.
on. And they called it Terra Australis Incognita. Terra meaning land, incognito meaning unknown, and Australis meaning southern.
Southern, yeah.
And
So Australia basically means
southern. Yeah.
But it wasn't called that originally.
No, it was not. It was, like you said, it was
New Holland.
New Holland. Because
So, and officially, because that's who originally found
there,
it.
yeah.
So, but it was a penal colony.
yes, it was.
And-
Not penis colony.
Yeah, not Rasputin.
Not Rasputin.
Talk to the Icelandic people
The
about that.
phallic
Yeah, yeah.
museum in Iceland. See, more and more reasons to go to Iceland.
We might have to do ridiculous taxes
And ridiculous
and
museums.
museums next week. And so
Happy to help, boys.
You know what? I've got a hard on for this topic. Sorry.
it leaves me a little limp.
Troy doesn't like
I just
comparisons.
turned down a whole bit. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, it was originally called New Holland, and then James Cook claimed it in the 1770s for England. Very excited.
Is it cold in here?
No comment.
And deep too, right? Yeah.
Sandy bottom. Okay, Australia still. We're still in Australia, right?
Australia, sure, that's where we are.
All right.
Where there
Yeah, it
are
was a
lots
penal
of sandy
colony.
bottoms.
But until it became Australia in 1817 officially.
Yes, it did. A
They
fellow
st-
called Matthew Flinders named it Australia.
Yeah.
And he believed that there would never be another continent discovered further south. And 6 years later,
Ugh.
6 years later,
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Some fucking Russians found
Yeah.
Antarctica. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Antarctica, I didn't know this. Antarctica, the first time it was written down as Antarctica was in 1904 in the New York Times.
Okay.
That's the first time.
1904.
1904.
That seems a little late.
Doesn't it?
It was discovered in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
Seems a little late.
Amazing, right? So why is it called Antarctica?
Okay, so it's called Antarctica because of this reason. The Greek word for bear is Arctic.
Arctic.
All right. So the opposite of the North Pole is the South Pole, where you'd find Antarctica.
Right, because ant means opposite.
Opposite.
Yeah.
So the opposite side
Yeah.
is Antarctica.
Yeah.
So Antarctica became that. So it's the opposite bear, or a female bear
Yeah.
is how it became Antarctica. Here's what I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I discovered this today. You said you already knew this. There's a cooler company called Arctic. All right. You know what their logo is?
Is it a bear?
It's a freaking
Of
bear.
course
And
it
I
is.
never put it together.
Yeah. Yeah, because apparently up on the RT you can see the Ursa Major. You can see the Big Dipper. That's the
Yeah, yeah.
dominant one in the sky.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from. Yeah, the bear.
Yeah.
The Arctos, the Greek for bear. Yeah.
So why didn't they call it Ursa Minor?
I don't fucking
Why didn't
know.
they call it Little Bear?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because Big Dipper, it means big bear.
Yeah, and Little Dipper. Ooh.
Yeah. So
Didn't you
Ursa-
just say Arctic is female bear?
No.
Antarctic.
Antarctic. Arctic is bear.
Okay.
Okay. Ant means opposite.
Okay.
So they kind of made that in the Greek. So the opposite would be the female version.
Okay. So,
So that-
Antarctica is the female bear,
It
and
means
Arctic
like
is the
female
male
bear, not necessarily little bear. It means opposite bear is kind of the way it's loosely translated.
All right.
And,
Kinda cool,
and
right?
I'm a drink in, so we don't really have to. And in case you're wondering why I'm leaning around, there's a camera right between
there
me
is.
and Amanda. So I'm not suffering any seizure or anything like
There's
that.
nobody in the other room pointing a gun at them and trying to dodge.
I'm not trying to be
like a
waving
Rasputin here.
So, but it actually means opposite bear or female bear.
Yeah.
So
Fucking cool as hell,
yeah.
right?
All right, Asia.
Asia.
All
So,
right.
so Europe and Asia kind of similar kind of ideas from what I've read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Euro, Asia, Europe. Yeah.
So if you were in certain parts of the world,
Mm-hmm.
Eurasia is one continent.
Yes.
We would not say that. We would say Europe,
And Asia.
Asia.
Yes.
right?
So Asia
Right.
comes from Azu.
Azu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Azu it comes from like the Akkadian language, and Azu means sunrise, means Eastern rising sun.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were in Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq, and you looked to the east, and this was their language, this was the Akkadian language.
Everything to the east.
Everything to the east.
Azu.
Azu. Yeah.
So
And
it was
that's
east.
And it was written down by the Greek historian Herodotus in the
Wait,
old
what'd you
4th
step in?
century. Huh?
You stepped in Herodotus?
Herodotus.
Okay.
Do. Herodotus. Yeah. And so Europe has a similar thing. So Europe from Mesopotamia is Erbu, which means sun set. It means,
The West.
yeah, the perspective from Mesopotamia was western setting sun. So Erbu, yeah, simple as that. Now I've heard other things that Europe is also named after the goddess Europa, who apparently fornicated when Zeus took the shape of a white bull. I'm not quite sure why you would fornicate with a white bull. If anyone out there has ever fornicated with a white bull, please do not contact me.
I think that's a show in Tijuana.
I might have been to that show. Oh
Yeah,
God, you just
I think that was
just
the show
dredged
in
up a
Tijuana.
memory right now.
I don't think it was a bull, but they put horns on that mule. Yeah, so it's
Clerks 2 is the only reason why I know that show exists.
all right.
Yeah, and Europe goes way back, like 6th century BCE. Like, it's kind of crazy.
All right.
Kind of crazy.
So I believe the last one we have to talk about is Africa.
Africa. Toto the band.
Yeah.
knows. Yeah.
Yeah, of course we got to talk
Absolutely.
about Toto.
Not a lot of people know that, but Toto. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good-
Yeah.
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 So,
No,
and
so Africa, it was, there's again Latin, 2nd century Latin, Afar, which means it means earth. Afar. And
you have
so-
a different meaning.
Yeah, what have you got?
I have it
very
meaning
good.
sunny.
Ooh. I got Afar meaning earth in Arabic. Afar.
Uh-huh.
So the Romans refer to what is now modern day Tunisia, that North Africa, as the Arabic word was Afar.
Uh-huh.
And the Romans, who had, of course, conquered that part of the world,
Uh-huh.
they heard that and they referred to it then as Afar in Africa. Yeah.
No, I had the Greek word as an Afrika with a K, and I mean, and it's Africa, and it meant sunny. That means it was
Really?
the sun was always shining.
Wow. That's why Ireland is not called Africa.
Yeah, that's why it was. That's why it's called all hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ireland.
Oh yeah.
IRE. Anger.
Ire.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of ire towards the land.
Rains all the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
time.
So,
Yeah. But here's a
but you have good
crazy-
taters.
We do have good taters.
Yeah.
Here's it. Well, except when there's a famine.
Yeah.
And then we don't have good.
Well, you shouldn't kill all the snakes.
I don't see the connection, but I'll say yes.
Yeah, well,
to
you
that.
killed. There was an association with. There was a massive killing of the snakes.
A cull, shall we
A
say?
cull of the snakes.
Yeah.
Which made the population of rats expand,
Right.
which created the potato famine
Sure.
because the rats infected a lot of different things because
Right.
they did it because there was a cull of the snakes. Don't kill the snakes; they're necessary. It's part of the circle of life.
If you remember at the start of the show, we said we'd brush against history. That was an example of severe brushing right
Okay,
there.
we got to stay here. We got 3 minutes because I want to know because you're from Ireland, but that was what I was.
Really?
That's part of what I heard is the killing of the snakes.
Seriously?
Created-
I thought you were making that up.
No,
right now.
no, and now I'm going to have to Google the shit. Now I'm going to have to Google the shit. But the killing of
on
the
it.
snakes created the expansion of the
Okay.
rat
So
population.
there was no snakes in Ireland ever.
yeah,
The idea was
because you
sympathetic.
killed them all.
Yeah, there you go.
damn Irishman.
So if you've ever met a self-respecting snake, they don't.
Why would you be in Ireland?
Right? Cold, damp, wet fucking climate. No.
I think I learned this in like 3rd grade and it stuck with me forever. I'm 55 years old, so I'm now learning something 40 something years later. So what created the potato famine?
Okay, so there was a massive population. The English, basically, because of their skullduggery, there was all kinds of problems with division of land. Very few people own enough land. The only viable crop on which you could feed people on a small patch of land was potatoes. And so Irish people in the late 1830s, some of them were eating 10 to 11 pounds of potatoes a day. That was the only food they were eating. They were living on these small plots of land. I'm not making that up. That
10
is
or
real.
11 pounds?
A day. And here's what happened. There's a disease brought by the Colorado beetle called blight. And that hit the potato crop. And you had so many people just subsisting on potatoes. And suddenly that was gone.
And that's how it killed
That was it.
millions and millions
That's
of
how it
Irish.
killed. Yeah, now
So it was a
granted-
beetle?
Sure. Yeah,
it
Colorado
was?
beetle that brought the blight. Yeah.
So it was a beetle. It had nothing to do with the rat.
Nothing to do with rats, nothing to do with snakes, no.
Jeez, I'm
The
gonna have to Google.
infestation ruined 1/2 of the potato crop the first year and about 3/4 of the crop over the next 7 years.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how many millions actually died because so many migrated.
So in
Away
the,
from
the census of 1841 had 8.5 million people in Ireland. The census of 1851 had 6.2.
Yeah, so they don't know how many died and how many migrated.
Yeah, and do you know by 1929 there was only 2.9 million on the island. Wow! Because there was successive famines in the 19th century and then massive emigration, and so the population of Ireland still today, the whole island
was less than what
hasn't
it was
got
in
back to what it
2008.
was in 1841.
So it's still not over 8 million.
It's still not over. I think it's 6.5 on the whole island now. Wow! Yeah.
So I'm still disappointed about my snake story.
Your snake story
I think
is great.
I think it's way more fun. And I can tell you this, I've believed it for 40 years. And that's why we do this show.
Is that why we're doing this show?
We do this show because I like to learn stuff. You like to learn stuff.
Yeah.
So no, I completely believe you because I literally have held that story for 40 years.
You ever seen there's an Irish band called Black 47, and it's because 1847 was the darkest, blackest year of the famine, and so they named the band for that, Black 47.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the song "Ring Around the Rosie."
Yeah,
it's about the Black Plague.
About the Black Plague. Yeah.
All right, guess what? We're out of time. Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda, very much
for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Way better than Blake.
Oh, no, we're not saying that.
Yeah.
I love my boy. I love my boy.
Amanda never said God save the king, so good enough for me.
Oh, that's true. He ended the show with God save the king. All right. I just want to say thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Amanda. If you enjoyed the show, share the show. If you didn't enjoy the show, share the show. We don't care if you liked it or not.
Send it to the people you dislike.
But thank you for all the comments. I'm going to go back and check on some of those. It looks like you guys had a great conversation, and me giving false information. So thank you, Derek.
Thanks, guys.
All right, next week we're going to talk about ridiculous taxes and crazy museums. All right, this is Bollox Talks and Tangents. We'll be right back next week.